The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Hello Cherries fans, hello Spurs fans, hello Brentford fans, and welcome to this show where I am recapping on the Spurs draw at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Also, we're going to have a look at and see how we beat Brentford. I'm going to give my predictions, and yeah, we shall go from there. Let us know in the comments if you agree, disagree, what you think. Now, before we get going, here's a bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. To find out more about them, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk, and a big thank you to our other sponsor, Touchpoint Telecoms. Do get in contact with them for all your business telecoms needs at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk. So let's touch upon that draw against Spurs on Sunday, kicking off at 2:00. To be honest, it was a very, very, very good performance from AFC Bournemouth. We nearly went ahead through Evan Nielsen early on, but his shot was just a little bit wide of the post. Of course, Kluivert did get it in the back of the net, but his was actually ruled out. And we did have a great piece of skill, not just only by Marcus Tavernier, but Milos Kerkez, where he ran the overlap, beat several men before squaring into the box where Tavernier scored. And Evan Nielsen finally did get his goal, an excellent piece of work from him. And it was looking very, very positive. To be honest, we could have been further ahead, but Spurs did come back into it. Now, my major concern about this game was Kepa's positioning. Wasn't so much, with regards to our defence. Now, of course, Sar's goal, I think it was a very, very, if it was a shot, it was a very well taken shot. I'm sure that Sar would say that it was a shot. However, I'm pretty sure that most fans in the ground that day probably thought, well, that's more of a cross. But Kepa's positioning was just too wrong. He was just in that advanced position. He was found in no man's land, and it was just chipped over him. And yeah, 2-1. Anything can happen. It's a dangerous scoreline, especially with 30 minutes remaining, and so it seemed to be. With just 5 minutes to go, a very neat run into the box, but a run that was going nowhere. Defensively, we kind of had it covered as well. It would have took something to actually get it in the back of the net from that position. A run into the box, and Kepa again has come down, and I'm not really sure that he needed to make that movement to actually give away the penalty. I think a little bit more was made of it than really, I think that there could have been a little bit of honesty there, and the player could have stayed on his feet. But of course, Kepa, when you go to ground like that and do catch the man, then you're only asking for trouble. And so it seemed. And Son Heung-min did, put away quite a neat penalty. Of course, Son has been under a bit of criticism this season, fairly unfairly. He is an older player in the Premier League really now as it stands. He's had a fantastic career at Spurs, but he is coming to his twilight years. But he dispatched it like he was back at his prime. So yes, disappointed that we didn't come away with the 3 points. No, it sounds crazy to actually say disappointed not to come away with 3 points against Spurs, because they are they are one of the top teams in the Premier League. I don't need to say that. Everybody knows that Spurs are one of the big six. They've just had a very poor season. Postecoglou, has found it very, very tough going this year. Um, so, yeah, how long is he going to be in charge of that football club? Well, we shall see. But yeah, he's obviously turned it around against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. That will be something that probably keep him in the job. If that had gone the wrong way, I think it probably would have been curtains for him. It probably will be curtains at the end of the season, but it's I'm just hoping that Spurs haven't got their eyes on Andoni Iraola. But like I say, and like this video does say, of course, Brentford is up next. We do have our preview coming out very, very shortly, so do keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But how do we actually beat Brentford? Because Brentford are one of those teams, aren't they, that we just don't seem to be able to get results against. We It's now been I think 4 or 5 years since we beat Brentford, and of course that goes back to that playoff game, the first leg. Of course, the second leg it all went wrong. Chris Metham brought down Brian and Mbembo, and from that point onwards it was curtains. So yeah, I think this is a very, very tough game, especially considering we haven't won in three. We've played well in all three. One good thing, though, is Ilya Zamanier will be back in the lineup for this match against the Bees. And I'm sure that he will team up with Dean Howson. I don't think James Hill has really done much wrong. I think he's still really learning the game, and especially in the top flight. Probably needs a little bit more time, maybe in the championship level. He's going to get there. He's a good player. He's a good player, good professional, got good good head on his young shoulders. But I just don't think that he's there yet. So I would go with Kepa. Of course, he's probably going to be in goal. It would be chaotic if we didn't play him in goal, but you know that's always the danger considering the mistakes he did make against Spurs. Zabania and Howson are definitely the centre back pairing. Lewis Cook has got to be on the right back position unless Adam Smith makes a miraculous recovery. That's very, very unlikely. And Milos Kerkez on the left hand side. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. Ryan Christie, it was a very, very nice welcome surprise that he was back. Is he back at peak fitness? Of course, I don't think he's back at his real peak, but he did play very, very well against Spurs. So I think personally, we've got to go with him. And Tyler Adams has been excellent as well. Um, and then, moving forwards, do we change one of the attacking options? Justin Clivert down the centre, I don't think it'll be him. Semenyo, I think Semenyo has been playing maybe with a little bit of an injury for a little bit of time. I think that maybe opposition teams have picked him out as a real danger man for AFC Bournemouth and really put tabs on him. Do we start with him? Do we start with him on the right hand side? Do we mix it up and maybe bring it on Dango Watara in that position? But then again, Dango Watara has been better in that forward line position. The other option that is going through my head here is maybe David Brooks. Maybe David Brooks, is going to come in. Will he play on the left or will he play on the right? Probably you would say that Semenyo would play on the left, David Brooks on the right-hand side. Sinistera was excellent earlier on in the season as well. So maybe Semenyo move over to the right, Sinistera on the left. And in fact, I think that's probably the way I would go. Despite his goal and despite how well he's been playing, Marcus Tavernier, I would just drop for this game from the starting lineup. I think, he will get time on the pitch from the bench. It's nothing against him. I just think it's just options, and I think it will counteract Brentford because I think that we need to hit them at some real pace. They've got a lot of very good players, especially in that centre of defence, keeping Damsgaard quiet and Janelt under pressure is going to be key for us. So I would play Sinistera right-hand side, Semenyo on the left, and of course, Evan Nielsen. It's great to see him back up front. Maybe Dango will come on for Evan Nielsen. I wouldn't be worried if Dango did decide to, if Iraola decided to play Dango up front, instead of Evan Nielsen, just giving Evan Nielsen a little bit more time to get back into the drill. Let me know what you think, because like I say, this is a very, very, very new show. It's kind of a raw reaction. It's kind of the preview. But yeah, let me know what you think about how this is potentially going to go. That is my lineup. One change from the team that played against Spurs. That change, Tavernier out, Sinistera in. I'm not Iraola, but hey, it will be very interesting to hear what you've got to say. Like I say, hit subscribe, bell button. The preview is coming very, very soon. Also, do keep your eyes peeled as well for more videos. And if you are a Brentford fan and you are watching this and you're thinking, what is Bournemouth going to do go and watch some interviews as well that we've done earlier on in the season and also last year. We had your legend Lloyd Owusu on for the for the game at the GTEC. So we've had him on. Really, really good. Interesting conversation and a proper gent Lloyd is. And then we also had Adam Devlin from the Blue Tones and Rich Archer from Hardfi. So yes, do go and check those two out as well. And yeah, but Brentford are hard to beat. I shall say that now. If you're a Hardfi fan, I've got all the albums, but there you go. Do go and check it all out. Thanks again for coming on. We'll see you soon.
The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.